I'm about to jump into some video editing projects, but before I did that, for some reason, I just wanted to do some ISO tests with the Sony A7C, which has the same sensor as the Sony A7 III. So if you have either of those cameras, stick around. I'm gonna go over some noise tests. Yeah, this is a noise test. Right now, what you're seeing is 12,800 ISO. 12,800 ISO is usually something that's reserved for cameras like the FX3, the FX6, the ZV-E1, the A7S III. That is the second base ISO of those cameras. So that means that you're going to get a clearer image at 12,800 than you would at 3,200 on those cameras. I am in the market for buying a new camera right now, but I honestly don't know if I should, if I can get an image that isn't too noisy or is professionally acceptable at 12,800 on this camera. Side note, the base ISOs are 640 and 12,800 on the FX3, A7S III, FX6, and the ZV-E1 in S-Log3. This whole test is happening in S-Log3. I know I should articulate these things better and at the beginning, but you're hearing it now. As I said, we are at 12,800. I have my f-stop at 5.6, and I'm shooting 1/50 because I'm shooting 24 frames per second. Let's switch it up to 3,200, see what that looks like. Starting now. So this is now 3,200, which is the second base ISO of, actually, second base ISO of this camera. This is the A7C. So on the A7C, the base ISO starts at 500, as opposed to on the A7 III, it starts at 800. If I pulled my numbers correctly, 3,200 isn't the correct second base ISO on the A7C, but it would be on the A7 III. But I just want to see what it looks like and kind of play around. By the way I'm measuring my exposure is I'm using zebras, and for skin tones, you want to be between 50 and 80, 70 being more white skin tones, and then as you go lower, it's better for people with darker skin tones. I might have just made that up, but I know 70 is for sure where you want the zebras to light up, images properly exposed, and then you take like a little step back. Cool, great. So that's what this is, 3,200. I think I'm gonna move this down though to serve my tests on the A7C. So let's take a look at that really quick. So now we're at 2,000. This might be the second base ISO of the A7C, but this test is gonna tell me because I really can't find this information anywhere. Like, the closest I've gotten to it is one of Gerald Undone's videos going over the A7C when it first came out. And beyond that, I haven't really been able to find resources that would lead me to believe that there have been like proper tests that have been done with the Sony A7C. Is this image cleaner than the prior image at 3,200 for this A7C, which is still, 3,200 is still the second base ISO in S-Log3 of the A7 III. So that's a lot of threes. Is this the cleanest image, and is 2,000 the second base ISO technically, since the first base ISO is 500 in the A7C? Only time will tell, but I'm not using a monitor. I am using the on-camera screen, and I know that isn't the best screen to monitor yourself when you are running tests like this, but in a real world application is where I want to like have this test run, because if you are out and about and you need the cleanest image, you are not going to have time and certain elements to give you the best image. Like, say that you are a food vlogger and like you just go out to a place, you're not planning on bringing any secondary lights. You want to have the best possible settings in your camera to give you the cleanest image so you can feel proud about the image that you're putting out in the world. That's just me. So this is the second base ISO. This is the probable second base ISO at 2000 ISO, f5.6, and 1/50 shutter speed, because we are shooting at 24 frames per second. Let's go to the base ISO and see how that stacks up against this possible second base ISO. You know what, I'm just not gonna stop the recording. I'm just gonna drop down to 500. Wait for our zebras to come in. So this is as high as this light goes, but my skin still isn't properly exposed, so I'm going to drop the f-stop until I can see, oh, there it is, my little light on my nose. My shiny, shiny nose is picking up this light very well. So now we are at ISO 500, f4.5, shutter speed 1/50, because we're shooting at 24 frames per second. And if you've noticed, I haven't adjusted the lights in the background, because most lights in the background aren't professional studio lights that can go to a certain strength. They are capped at a certain wattage, and usually when you're out and about, the wattage isn't very high because the lights are only on when it's dark. These aren't floodlights, they are like restaurant lights or candlelight, they're things of those nature. I want this to be like the most realistic situational test, because I want the cleanest images when I'm out and about filming, you know, my experiences at night. This is just a fun test for me to be able to see and hopefully share with you what are the best settings for this A7C camera. If you find this at all helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to see more, go on this little journey of like learning the best settings for your camera, the A7C. I know in 2025, maybe just buy a new camera, you psycho, because that would really help me out, because I'm on this journey to really learn these cameras inside and out and provide information that I'm not finding anywhere else. Okay, so let's finally see what exactly is going on with these noise levels. You know what, let's crank it. We're gonna crank it really quick. We're gonna move away from 500 and we're gonna go past that 12,800 and see what our image looks like at 32,000. So this is 32,000. We're gonna dial down our key light. Okay, skin tones look good. Zebras are not popping up on my face. So now we are at 32,000 ISO. Can we still pull a clean image from this video? I don't know, can we? Let's see, if I turn on my computer, am I gonna get blinded? No, okay, cool. So we're doing pretty well for ourselves, and everything is exposed as properly as you can. Like, of course, my white t-shirt is overexposed. The lights in the background are now way overexposed, but these cameras have these built-in ISO values that go above and beyond whether they give you a clean image or not. That is the whole point of this video. They can go further than what will give you a clean image, and maybe adjusting in camera will give you an edge in getting a cleaner image, as opposed to trying to drag those values in your editing platform. So this is just the final place I wanted to go in this test, just to see if it is possible to get a clean image out of 32,000 ISO with a 4.5 f-stop at 1/50 shutter speed, 24 frames per second. Is this usable? Is it something that, as a professional, you can feel proud delivering to a client if you had to, without dragging the sliders up and down, inside out in your editing platform and getting your histogram just to make some possible sense? Let's find out. Okay, now we're gonna go into DaVinci Resolve. Just for shiggles, this is 102,400 ISO. I know that this image could not possibly be clean, and then you're also picking up my charging light here. This definitely is not an image that you can give to a client and they would be happy about. I don't ever suggest that people use this setting, but if you do, know that after we put it into DaVinci Resolve, is it savable? Okay, just wanted to do a one last final big push here. I'm overlooking all the footage, and to be honest, yeah, of course, 12,800 is gonna be way noisier than the 3200, still usable in my mind. And then when we shift to 3200 and the 2000, the two possible base ISOs, I can't tell. I literally can't tell. And then when it comes down to between 2000 and 500, they both look really good to me. Let me give it a closer look. The 3200 does look less noisy in a lot of the corners of the image, a lot of darker parts of the image, and then the 500 as well. So I'm gonna bank that 500 and 3200 are probably the best ISOs to use if you're shooting on an A7C in S-Log3. And then if you're shooting in S-Log3 on a Sony A7 III, then 800 and 3200 are gonna be your best ISOs. That said, I still kind of prefer the image at 2000 and 3000. I don't know if it's just me, but I can notice a shift in the color when we are at the higher ISOs. At the higher ISOs, I think it's going a little more into a green versus magenta at the lower ISOs. So yeah, at the lower ISOs, you're getting a more of a magenta on the skin tones. And then at the higher ISOs, you're getting a more green shift, which is something to consider. But obviously very fixable. You can change it easy. But yeah, even the difference between 3200 and 2000 is that magenta shift. That's what it is. I usually put a lot more magenta into my images. Just seeing it here now, it's fun to know what the differences are here. That's great. Okay, so the higher your ISO, the more you're gonna go into this greenish tint. And the lower your ISO, it's gonna round out and give you that more magenta tint to your skin. Easily matchable, easily fixable. The stuff that you're just not gonna figure out unless you do these kinds of tests. To wrap this up, I think that basically none of it really matters. If you're getting a clean image, you're getting a clean image. But if you want the cleanest image, 3200 is obviously your best bet. As that is the second base ISO, it doesn't hurt to go a little above and beyond that. Even to 12,800, I don't hate the 12,800. It looks good. It doesn't look bad. On a smaller screen, it looks better, 100%, don't get me wrong. You were in a pinch and you needed to kick it into overdrive at 12,800. You could do it and it would be okay. It would be okay. That's only if you get everything else right as well. You can't just punch everything into 12,800 and then you got your white balance wrong. It's gonna put more strain on the image than maybe what a little bit of color grading and noise reduction can do in post to fix it. Just keep that in mind. ISO is one thing, but there is a whole plethora of other things that you could do to get the image to look as clean as possible. If there's something that I'm missing in these tests and these samples, go ahead and let me know, because I don't know everything. I'm literally just trying my best to make beautiful images, and sometimes a noisy image is beautiful. But again, to each your own. I hope this helps you out. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please like the video, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.